Are you ready for the ultimate gaming PC ever? I've never said that one before. But today we are going to be doing exactly that, because we have a brand new case here from Corsair, the 5000T, that, how do I put this? Has everything you'd want, but costs a lot of money. So we're going to continue this theme for the whole PC. 4K, eat your heart out. But before you remove your heart from your chest and consume it, here's a quick word from this video sponsor. Acer's Predator Triton 500 SE is a sleek yet powerful gaming beast, packing the latest 12th generation Intel CPUs, NVIDIA RTX 30 series mobile graphics, and one-touch overclocking. Selected Acer Predator machines also come with Xbox Game Pass for PC included, so you can get playing Halo Infinite, Age of Empires 4, and Forza Horizon 5 without any extra cost. Learn more today with that link down below. So yeah, we're going absolutely massive here today. We've got an RX 6900 XT, we've got the top of the line Ryzen processor, the 5950X, we've got a complete overkill motherboard, we've even got this actually, which is brand new. It's like a special edition Mandalorian SSD from Seagate. Like, I'm really grateful that they sent it to me, but I don't really know why this exists. I suppose it's for bragging rights, really. If you have this, you're the bee's knees. But let's make ourselves some room and actually get started. Yes, that does include you, your very big and heavy case. We'll talk about you in a bit. For now though, we'll grab our motherboard, and this is the Corsair 8. Quick maths. This is definitely one of ASUS's top of the line motherboards, and this is actually one of the best looking ones I think you can get. Of course, this is an X570 motherboard, so you've got PCI Generation 4 not only on the top slot, but for some of the chipset lanes as well, which is pretty cool. You've got an absolutely fabulous I/O. I mean, look at the amount of USB ports on that. Support for Wi-Fi 6, USB-C, there's Supreme FX audio, so if you're using an analog headset, this is going to sound fantastic. But I think very importantly for a lot of people, you are going to have some decent overclocking capabilities on this. But the Ryzen chips have traditionally never been the absolute best overclockers because they're very good out of the box at actually squeezing all of the energy out with their sort of precision boost technology. AMD sent this one out on a little loan sample, so no, I don't get to keep this. The performance of this is going to be pretty neck and neck to the top of the line Intel chip. So when you're actually deciding which way to go, it is worth bearing in mind not only the features of the motherboard, but the price that you're actually going to be paying for the whole sort of chipset and the CPU itself. Because of course the issue you're going to have if you do decide to go down this route right now is that there basically isn't going to be any upgradability. This is very future proof, but it doesn't have PCI Generation 5, and the next generation of the Ryzen chips are going to be coming probably about like June, July time. But it is definitely worth bearing in mind that you're essentially buying something that you can't upgrade later. Not in terms of CPU anyway. Let's grab our mini screwdriver and get this top slot off. And then we can put our shiny new SSD in. Like literally our shiny new SSD. Seagate is such a funny company to work with because they quite literally said, we've got this really cool product coming. We're not going to tell you exactly what it is, but you're going to love it. And truth be told, I haven't actually watched The Mandalorian yet. I know. I'm not entirely sure what the price premium of this is going to be, but you get yourself a little cool card and then the drive itself. And okay. That does actually look pretty awesome, doesn't it? I mean, it depends on the color theme that you're going for. Make no mistake, this is just a FireCuda 530, which is a ridiculously fast PCI Generation 4 drive. It's got absolutely amazing endurance rated for this. But I would not be surprised if you had to pay a fair bit more for this special edition rather than the standard one. So if you just care about gaming performance and you don't want to go like properly over the top, then don't worry about not having this specific SKU. The other cool thing about not actually having any writing on the top is that you can put it either way in your motherboard, and it's not going to look wrong. Here's your proper look at your Mandalorian Special Edition motherboard now. I think we need to add some more stuff. So let's go for our random access memory. This is some Corsair Vengeance RGB SL. This is a 3600 MHz kit, and we're going to use all 32 gigabytes of it, because this is an overkill PC. So now we can grab the start of our show. And full disclosure, I will be doing some pre-rolls on this in a sponsored capacity in a few weeks' time, but I didn't want that to let us get in the way of actually using this case and doing a full build, because I've got a lot to talk about here. And I suppose the easiest way of actually describing this case is that it is essentially like a 5000D Airflow, but with like a sort of twist on it to make this one of the T versions. It's almost like a throwback to the olden days of Corsair cases. And the whole idea is to make this as RGB blingy Corsair as possible and give you all of the stuff that you might want to add into your 5000 Airflow at a later date, but from the start. But then the thing for me is that this is now a very expensive case, and I will tell you how much it costs towards the end of the video because I do not want to ruin the surprise. But to me, this almost feels like a £150 case. All of the money is actually going into like the RGB, the fans that you get 3 LLs on the front, you've got their sort of proper commander on the back for fan control. And when I spoke to Corsair about this, they also said that things like shipping costs and container prices have all gone through the roof, which don't get me wrong, I know and I believe, but this is a substantially more expensive case than the base version. And I'm not sure that most people are going to want to pay the money. But it is nice that you do get 4 USB ports on the front and a Type-C though. This actually makes me want this case. But I have been told that once you get this thing turned on, the looks will blow you away. And I don't weigh very much, so... Whoa! Oh god, there's boxes. Someone commented yesterday saying they're unsubscribing because I'm an idiot. Have you honestly only just noticed that? Let's do a James Cousins Geekawatt and see if we can actually put this motherboard in with the whole thing standing upright, just for a change, you know, spice things up. Technically, this is a bedroom, so this is spicing things up in the bedroom. A bag of screws, a bag of screws. Everybody loves a bag of screws. To be fair, one of the best things about the 5000D is that it is actually so easy to build in, and it does accommodate so much hardware. I still don't think everyone needs a chassis this big, but you know, if you've got the budget for this sort of build, then it probably is a good way to go. You're going to get lower temperatures as well, just because you've got more air that can be moved. Assuming you populate all of those fans, of course. So far, so good. I think it's starting to look like a gaming PC, and a pretty good one at that. But the next step is going to be to actually install our CPU cooler, and here we're using the H100i Elite Capellix. Obviously, you can go for a more expensive version of this that has a screen, and it does look great, but it's not strictly necessary. And full disclosure, mine is in my personal rig over there, and I'm too lazy to take it out. Sorry guys. We are going to be swapping things out a little bit though, because we've got 3 more LL fans to match the rest, so I'm going to put these on this cooler and then one at the back as well. I'm going to put my smart hat on though and actually grab this CPU cable, or CPU power cable to be more correct, and actually plug this into the motherboard now so it is a little bit easier to connect it later. Then how does this come off? Does it just pull? Okay, that was not as dramatic as I thought, but yes, just pops off for lunch. Then at the top, you can see you have these little RGB strips, and this is what's going to give you that illumination. But obviously right now I need to remove the dust filter, which is magnetic. Then I can grab the CPU cooler and just screw this in from the top. Tuck the cables around the back, grab some thermal paste and apply this to the CPU. Grab the pump head and then just lower that over the top and then fix into place. And grab what would normally be a pretty awesome inclusion, which is like the control box for not only the fans and the RGB, but then the pump head itself. But obviously this is another box and we've already sort of got 3 here. But we'll make it work. I think I do the case fan control to the CPU controller, but then all of the RGB will be on this other Commander Pro, so you can sort of have effects that go through all of them at once. I'm then going to add the extra case fan to the back. It would look a bit weird if we didn't have one in there. Tidy up those cables, because there definitely are quite a lot here, and you can definitely see that you're not necessarily going to have your work cut out for you, but it's definitely going to be a little bit more of a challenge than like a more basic build. In terms of I/O on the front though, you do actually have 2 USB 3.0s, which isn't actually that usual, I think, unless you're going for a high-end motherboard. Oh no, is that what's happened here? Oh, for goodness sake, this motherboard only has 1. That's annoying. This bar is great for making it nice and neat, but sometimes it's not the easiest thing to actually get cables plugged in with. Annoying design. Let's plug the front panel in. Pressing swiftly on, we can move to the power supply, and overkill is very much the theme. And here we have a 80+ titanium rated supply from Be Quiet. And usually 1000 watts would be a little bit too much, I think, for most builds. But because we're doing a ridiculously powerful CPU, and of course we are using that 6900 XT, to be honest, I think 850 is the minimum, but I wouldn't really advise going for lower than 1000. This is such a well-engineered, beautiful bit of kit. I mean, look at that. The only thing that really does annoy me about it though is that all of the cables you get in the box, while they are black, they don't exactly look great. They're not individually sleeved or braided in any sort of fancy fabric. Fortunately for me, I do actually have some custom cables that we can use though. to get around this problem, but then unfortunately for me, for some reason I don't actually seem to have one of the big ATX power connections, so we will have to use the stock one. For everything else though, we have these custom cables. So let's get everything connected, lay it down in our basement at the bottom. That's not gonna fit, is it? Fortunately, you can move the hard drive cage. So let's try that again and actually drop this in. Oh, getting this ATX connection through is not very easy. But I do like the system, but at the same time, it just makes it quite hard to actually plug the cables in. Plug in all of those SATA cables now. And then that actually only leaves one additional component, which is of course our completely ball-to-the-wall RX, almost on the floor, 6900 XT. This is the XFX Merc 319 edition. I mean, just look at this. I think the thing for me that really stands out is that this is just such an elegant design. It's clearly not relying on RGB to look really pretty. It's not like that Game Rock palette card. It's quite literally the opposite, and it should have absolutely phenomenal gaming performance, and hopefully the silence and low noise levels that we've come to expect for something as big as this. I mean, in terms of whether I'd rather have this or like an RTX 3090, I personally would have the 3090 for things like DLSS. However, the raw performance of this in certain titles is going to outperform that card. And while you do get DLSS with the 3090, you do still get ray tracing and of course AMD's FSR technology on the 6900 XT. So it all comes down to pricing really and value for money, which isn't something you'd normally say at this end of the market, but it still rings true. So let's drop this into place. Oh yeah, that perfectly matches the theme, doesn't it? Look at that. That looks pretty mean. And I think it is quite impressive actually that for a card as powerful as this, it does only take 2 8-pins. It's nice that you've not got to muck about with anything proprietary either. And so then, I believe this is our system actually pretty much all up and running. But will it look so much better when it's turned on? Have Corsair lied to me? Is this going to be something special? Or is this going to be something that's just a bit specially priced? But there's not much else to do other than to plug it in and press the button. We have some lights. I want to see it from the front. I want to see it from the front. I mean, yeah, it looks good. It's a very good looking case. I like that you get everything included as standard. But now comes the time to tell you that this PC works. Now comes the time to tell you the price of this case, which is £349.99. £350 for this. Which to me seems way off the mark. I know it is very bright and in your face, but here's the thing. If you bought the Airflow version of this case, I think you could then get the case and the CPU cooler and the fans for less money than just this case alone. And to me, that is pretty crazy. I mean, there is no denying that this looks absolutely phenomenal. If you're all about RGB and you want to build that ultimate Corsair PC, then clearly this is a brilliant chassis to do it in. And again, the 5000 is such a good case. There's not really that many things I don't like about it, bar maybe the bar. But I'm just honestly very confused as to how they've got that number for the case here. I'm going to be very interested to see how well this sells and whether it does stay at that price or whether it does come down a little bit. Let's go and enable XMP. We'll enable above 4G decoding so we can get smart access memory, also known as resizable bar. TPM device selection, change this to firmware TPM. I will then grab my copy of Windows 11 and plug this in at the back of the system. Yes, that looks good to me. Yes. There we go then, pretty much all set up and ready to go. I'll just install Windows, get some games on this, and we'll be right back. Here we are then, we're all set up and ready to go and get started with some Forza Horizon 5. This is of course running at 4K at the extreme preset, so look at that level of detail. That is absolutely insane. There are very few titles, I'd say at the moment, that really do take full advantage and are almost like a next-gen title in terms of the way that they actually look. But I think this has definitely got to be one of them. The scaling on this from Xbox One all the way up to this sort of PC is absolutely next level. But of course, the thing that truly makes the PC platform special, and this system in particular really stand out, is the fact that you don't have to choose between frame rate and fidelity. Because here, running again at that extreme 4K presets, we're getting over 100 FPS pretty much at all times. Let us go and grab the side panel though, so we can properly test the thermals and acoustics of this PC. That's not really very ASMR, is it? Next up, we're going to move towards some multiplayer action with some Halo Infinite, and as you can clearly see at absolute max settings, again, we're pretty much getting around about 95 to 120 FPS, depending on when and where we are in the game. So once again, this is very much a game where you can have your cake and eat it, or get blown up by a rocket launcher in my case. But anyway, let's jump into some Call of Duty Warzone. We'll put all of the settings up to max, apart from ray tracing that we'll leave off. And in terms of frame rates, we're getting anywhere between, what's that, about 120 to 150 FPS, again depending on where you are in the game. This all leaves us with one final test in a game that isn't exactly AMD's best friend, some Cyberpunk 2077. With ray tracing enabled. And yeah, this is not how I would choose to play the game. This is a solid 20 frames a second, no less. 23 if we're lucky. So let's try with ray tracing turned off completely, and I would expect a dramatic difference in terms of frame rates, and no, I still expected more, around about 32 frames a second now. So this at least is playable with a controller, right? But I'm very surprised at this. I know this is an Nvidia title, but I honestly did expect more. But if we just straight up change the resolution to 85%, are we now getting closer to 60? 40. I just don't think this is AMD's title. All in all though, I think this is definitely a case of mission accomplished. We have achieved a complete balls to the wall, epic, overkill gaming PC, and one that looks absolutely fantastic and in pretty much every game other than Cyberpunk performs absolutely brilliantly around about 100 FPS at 4K. That is no mean feat. Let me know what you think of this PC down in the comment section below, in particular the case. Would you spend £350 for what is essentially a special edition 500DX? Or would you spend any money on a different case? As always, if you do want to check out current pricing on this or anything else that makes up this PC, then you can find that link down below with my Amazon affiliate links. And of course, while you're down there, don't forget to check out Acer's awesome Predator Triton 500 SE. This gaming laptop is so sleek, yet so powerful, with gaming performance that is perfect for true next-generation gaming on the go. Not only that, but you'll also have plenty of titles to choose from, as Xbox Game Pass for PC is included for a crazy wide range of gaming bliss all on demand. Grab yours today with that link down below. But smash the like button if you've enjoyed this, get yourself subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.